Okay. Frozen yogurt is a dessert that is similar to ice cream. It tends to be more sour and have less fat than ice cream. It is not made with cream. Have any of you ever eaten frozen yogurt? Show of hands if you have had frozen yogurt. Would somebody please share with us a frozen yogurt experience? Where did you go? How was it? Share a story with us. Kelsey. Yogurt Yeti. What happened there? She got her frozen yogurt, she put her toppings on it, and she weighed it. Does anybody know what that's called? Self-serve. Self-serve means you make your own ice cream. What is the benefit of doing that? What's the benefit of making your own ice cream cone, Austin, or your own frozen yogurt? You put what you like on it. You put as much of what you like on it. Does anyone else have a story they would like to share?
At the yogurt place in Macy's that we go to in Miami, we go to Macy's.
Okay, and you pick your toppings that go on it? Okay. Anybody else? So again, by a show of hands, if we've had frozen yogurt. Again, it's like ice cream, but it's supposed to be healthier for you, a little more sour, a little less cream, right? Because it's not made with cream, so it's not as creamy. There are stores that sell frozen yogurt. The stores generally have different flavors and a self-serve bar of many different toppings that you can add on your own. Let's try to make a list of all the toppings you can add to frozen yogurt. On your sheet of paper, please make a list of different toppings you can envision adding to frozen yogurt. So right now you're just listing different things that you could put on frozen yogurt. So toppings for some frozen yogurt. Good. Really?
Like not like the inside thing.
Yeah, on frozen yogurt. It might be good. Okay, then I'm going to ask you to share with a small group or the people sitting around you some of your topping choices. You do not have to have the same toppings. You don't need to add or subtract from your list. Just have a conversation and see if somebody came up with something that you did not. You want to go work with Drew and Miss B? You guys can talk about it. Got a decent list? Yeah. Liv, Paige, good list? You don't have to. Just talk amongst yourselves. All right, let's start talking as a class now about the different toppings we can put on our frozen yogurt. If I call on you, give me a topping. Don't repeat toppings. So if I call on you, give me a topping that you can put on frozen yogurt, please. Kayla Bilby. Different types of peanuts or any type of nuts. Okay, give me another one, Brandon. Marshmallows. Kelsey. M&M's. Mason. Kiwi. Mallory. Strawberries. Samantha. Caramel. Amber. Cookie dough. Chambers. Hot fudge. Conley. Oreos. So Oreo pieces, right? Okay. Bradley.
Sprinkles.
Sprinkles, very good. JB. Bananas. Caitlin C. Bananas, gummy bears. Let's take a couple more. Couple more. Anything different? Paige. Reese's. That's right. You can go back to your seat, honey. Olivia Brooks, anything on your list that's not up here? Chocolate chips. I can think of something that I put on mine that isn't listed yet. Gabby? Coconut. Jasper? Syrup. Like maple syrup?
No, like caramel.
Oh, we've got caramel and hot fudge and granola. Okay. I know maple syrup probably wouldn't be bad. Emma?
I said crushed
Graham
graham crackers.
crackers. Miss B, do you have anything else?
Whipped cream.
Ooh. Anyone else think whipped cream? Last one. Last one. Mitchell. Okay, so different types of fruit. So blackberries. Okay, so we've got lots of different options on the board. Lots of different toppings you could put on frozen yogurt. Agreed? And at a self-serve, you would get your cup, you would put your ice cream in it, you would put your toppings on it. Does anyone know how frozen yogurt shops determine the cost of a container of frozen yogurt? How do places like Kelsey and Samantha mentioned? How do you determine if you to pick your toppings, the cost? Jordan.
How much it weighs.
How much the container weighs. So I pick up my cup, I put ice cream in it, I put whatever toppings I want, and then I do what? Weigh it on a scale, and it'll tell you how many ounces that container is. When you weigh it, what are you weighing? The frozen yogurt and the toppings and the container, right? They don't tell you to scoop it all out of the container and lay it on the scale. So you are weighing that container of frozen yogurt. What determines what could make Mason's more expensive than Maria's?
How much more I have on mine? Maybe like topping wise?
Okay, so if you have more toppings, what else? What else about the different toppings?
How like some toppings weigh more than others.
Some toppings weigh more than others. If I load hot fudge, that's heavier than putting whipped cream on it. If I put 4 blackberries on mine and Josh Bulla puts 4 blackberries on his, does that weight of the blueberries the exact same? Or the blackberries? If I put 4 blackberries and he puts 4 blackberries, or very close depending, I guess, on the size. Anything else? Anything else with how they determine weighing it?
What they put it in.
Right, and we'll assume that everybody's container weighs the same, right? They're not gonna give me a real light styrofoam container and give Brad like a big container made out of metal that he's got to pay $10 more for. Yes.
The container, like you get the smaller and then something bigger if you want more.
Right, like the size of your container. Yep. But again, if we're going somewhere, we're all gonna get a cup, fill it with our ice cream or our frozen yogurt, and put our toppings on it. Many frozen yogurt stores find the total weight of frozen yogurt with toppings and then charge a certain price per ounce of the weight. So like you guys all said, you weigh the container with the ice cream and the toppings. There's a certain charge per ounce of that ice cream, right? So if it's a certain number of ounces, it costs a certain amount per ounce. Thus, adding hot fudge to your yogurt is more expensive than adding the same amount of whipped cream. Does anybody have any questions about that? All right, we're going to pretend that we are helping plan a class trip. We are going to a frozen yogurt shop. What type of things do we need to consider when we're making these plans? What type of things do we need to consider? Let's discuss and we'll write some things on the board. If we're going to plan a field trip, we have got to plan before we just up and leave. So if the 8th graders are going to go to a frozen yogurt shop, we're going to go to Yogurt Yeti. What do we need to start taking into account when planning? Austin.
How many people are going on the trip?
Okay, so the number of people. So some things we want to determine. We're going to plan our trip. So some things we need to consider. One, we need to consider the number of people going. Okay, what else? Alyssa?
How they're going to get there.
Transportation, right? Transportation, so the number of people going, the transportation. Haven't I called on? Addison, anything? No? Okay. Kaylee?
Cost.
The cost. The cost of what? There's some different things when I put cost. When I put cost, what do you think of? Drew, what do you think of when I put cost? What added up? The ice cream? Okay, so who's paying for your frozen yogurt? Who's paying for your bus or your transportation? Okay, all these different things. Go ahead. Anything else we need to consider? Bilby? What time, what day, right, when we are going? Emma?
Like, do you know if they're going to have enough stuff for the amount of people going? Like,
Okay. Right, like is the place going to hold 150 eighth graders or whatever, whoever goes? Caitlin?
Allergies?
Allergies, good. If somebody has a peanut allergy, they need to be aware of that. Anything else? So there's a lot to take into account when you're going on a trip and you're all getting ice cream. Is Mitchell's ice cream going to be the exact same as Mason's? No. Are they going to weigh the exact same? No. So, the school might have a budget for how much you can spend on your trip to the yogurt shop. A budget is a certain amount of money that can be spent on a particular project or activity. Why do they call it a budget? What does that mean? If I give you a certain budget, what can you not do? Exceed the budget, right? You don't want to go over the budget. For instance, if you have a budget of $10, you can spend up to $10. What else does that mean? If you have a budget of $10, means you can spend $10
Or you can spend any number less.
or you can spend less, correct? Two people might go up and fill their ice cream cup, different amounts of ice cream, different number of toppings, different weights, different prices. But you're all still doing the same sort of thing. If I went, I can tell you what toppings I would put on it, which may be more or less than what you would put on it. Okay, so if you get a budget, you can't exceed your budget, right? You can't go there with a $5 bill, then they tell you your ice cream or your frozen yogurt costs $8. You don't have enough money. Does anyone have any questions about that? To recap, self-serve. If we go to a frozen yogurt place and it is self-serve, that means we serve ourselves. We get our own cup, we fill our own frozen yogurt, we put our own toppings on. Any last questions? Today we have completed an activity about yogurt and how it is priced at a shop. These ideas will help you complete your performance task. Any final questions? Okay, you are now ready to complete the frozen yogurt task. Good luck.